Hi guys, so today we're going to work on pages 273 and 274 in your math packets, but first let's practice counting to 10 and then backwards. Are you ready? Alright, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Think you can go backwards now? Are you sure? Let's try it. What comes first? 10. What's next? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Give yourself a round of applause. Alright, and next, you know how you've been practicing writing your numbers by tens all the way to 100? This time, I wrote them, and you're going to be the teacher. So can you tell me what's wrong with my numbers? So first, let's count. Can you count by tens to 100? Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Good job. All right. Now you are going to be the teacher. You're going to correct my numbers. So first we have 10, right? Are we good? 1, 0, 10. You got it. How about the next one? 20. What's wrong with my 2? It's backwards. You're right. So let's fix that too. 20, 30. Are we good? Yep. 40, 40, right? I put my 0 before the 4. That's wrong. We have to do 40. 40, 50, 6. Something's wrong with my 50? Are you sure? What's wrong with my 50? The 5 is backwards. You're right. I didn't even catch that. 50, 60, 70, 80, P0. What's a P doing there? No, we gotta make that a 9. 90, 100. So how did I do if I was a student? I did okay. I got most of my numbers right. Good job, guys. So I still need your help. I have 3 number sentences that I want to work together to build. And I also have some cubes. You remember these, right? So I want to use these to show my number sentence. So for the first number sentence, can you read this with me? 3 plus 2 equals. So how many cubes should I start with? If I read 3 plus 2, what should I start with? 3. So I'm going to take 3 cubes. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 cubes. How many more am I going to add? I'm doing the addition, right? How many more cubes am I going to add? 2. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. How many cubes do I have now? 5. I have 5. So the answer to 3 plus 2 equals 5. You're right. All right, let's do the next one. Can you read the sentence with me? 5 plus 1 equals. So how many cubes do I have to start with? 5. You're right. And I have my 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many do I need to add? 1 more cube. Okay, I'm going to add 1 more cube. How many do I have now? 6. 5 plus 1 equals 6. All right, let's do the last one. Let's read the number sentence. 6 minus 3 equals. How many cubes do I have to start with? 6. You're right. And this time, I'm not adding cubes, I'm taking away. I'm taking away how many cubes? 3. So let's take away 3 cubes. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. So how many cubes do I have now? 1, 2, 3. 6 minus 3 equals 3. So I'm not the best at drawing, but I try to draw a picture to tell you part of the story. So we have our friend Farmer Brown and our friend Cheddar, right? We know our friends. And we've been talking about bird's nests, some of us in kindergarten. And so Farmer Brown saw a bird's nest under the roof of the barn. And Cheddar, he couldn't see the bird's nest from where he was. So he actually had to get a ladder. Now, I think we could measure how tall our friends are based on the ladder. So if we use the steps of our ladder, how tall is Farmer Brown? Well, his head, even though his hat goes above here, let's just measure his head right here. I'll draw a line. Do, 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 do. So how many steps tall is Farmer Brown? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Farmer Brown he's 6 steps tall. Now let's measure how tall Cheddar is using the same measurement. He goes to about right here. Okay? 1, 2, 3. So Cheddar, he's about 3 steps tall. Now, if I wanted to find how much taller Farmer Brown is than Cheddar, I could set up a number sentence. So first, let's start with how tall Farmer Brown is. And how tall is he? 6 steps. So we're going to say 6. We'll say minus, and we're going to take away the extra height. How tall is Cheddar? 3. Okay, and then we're going to put equals. So Farmer Brown was 6, and we're taking away these 3. Okay, so how many steps are in between Cheddar and Farmer Brown? 1, 2, 3. 6 minus 3 equals 3. So Farmer Brown is 3 steps taller than Cheddar. Farmer Brown is taller than Cheddar, that's true. Now I have a question. If the nest was not so high and it was around the 3rd step, do you think Cheddar would need a ladder? Probably not. He wouldn't need a ladder because he's only 3 steps tall. Which one is the taller one again? Who's taller? Farmer Brown by 3 steps. Good job. So we've been talking about the height, which is how tall something or somebody is. But now let's talk about length, and that's how long something is. So I drew some squares, and they actually might make rectangles, right? So my top rectangle, how many squares do you see in my top rectangle? 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4 squares in my top rectangle. How many squares do you see in my bottom rectangle? 1, 2. I see 2 squares. Which rectangle is longer? Well, we can think about it a couple ways. The first way is we can draw our line from the end of this rectangle all the way to this one. And we can see that our first rectangle, our top rectangle, goes past that line. So it's longer. Or we can look at these numbers and ask ourselves, which one is bigger? Is 2 or 4 the bigger number? 4. 4 is the bigger number, so my top rectangle is longer. Now, how could I write a number sentence to find out how many squares I would need to make this rectangle the same length? So how many squares do I have to add to make my rectangle go all the way to here? Do you have any idea? Let's start with our long rectangle. How many squares did we say are in my long rectangle? 4. And just like with Farmer Brown and Cheddar, we're going to subtract. So 4 minus, and we're going to subtract these 2. 4 minus 2. So remember, we can cross out just like we do in our subtractions. So we're going to cross out 1, cross out 2, right? For each of these, crossing out. And we have how many left? 1, 2. So this rectangle would need to be 2 squares more to equal 4. 4 minus 2 equals 2. Good job. I have 2 more rectangles, and I'm wondering, which one do you think is longer? Which rectangle do you think is longer? Are you thinking this one because it's farther that way? That's a really good guess. But let's count our squares first. So let's count our squares in this rectangle. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 5. Now let's count this one. 1, 2, 3. So now, which one do you think is longer? Yeah, the top one, because 5 is bigger. I actually just drew it more that way, but it's still shorter. So now let's find out how many more squares do I need to add to this one to make it the same length as this one. So we're going to write another number sentence. So what number do we start with? We start with our longest rectangle. And what's our longer rectangle? 5. So we start with 5. And we say 5 minus 3 equals. So we're going to use this rectangle and we're going to cross out. How many are we going to cross out? 3. 1, 2, 3. How many do I have left over? 2. You're right. So I would need to add 2 more boxes to make it the same length. Here I made some towers with my cubes. I'm going to bring them closer so that you can see. I have 2 towers. Let's see. Put them here so you can see them. And I want you to look closely and be detectives at my 2 towers. What could you tell me about these 2 towers? How could you use words to describe them? I want you to think for just a couple minutes. I don't want you to think about the color. I want you to think about how tall they are. Let's count the blocks in this tower and see how many there are. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this tower has 8 blocks. Is that one way to describe this tower? Yeah, this tower is 8 blocks tall. Now let's count this tower. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This tower is how many blocks tall? 5. That's another way to describe those towers. I'm going to write these on the board so we can see those words. So one tower, let's say tower A is 8 blocks tall. And this tower, we'll say Tower B. Tower B is 5 blocks tall. There's another way that we can describe these towers. We can say that Tower A is taller than Tower B. Do you know how many blocks taller Tower A is? How many blocks taller? Let's use our number sentence to find out. So we're going to start with the taller tower, which is A, right? Because 8 is bigger than 5, and we can see. So let's say 8 minus 5 equals, I'm going to use my hands. 8, and I'm going to take away 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many do I have left? 3. So I can say here, Tower A is, I'm just going to write it like this, is 3 blocks taller. Or I can say that Tower B is 3 blocks. What word do you think? Shorter. So these are some ways that we can use words to describe these towers. Now let's look at your packet at page 273. And the instructions for this say complete each sentence. So down here, there's some missing numbers and we need to complete the sentence. So let's look at our picture. It looks like Farmer Brown and Cheddar are standing next to the barn with the birds, right? Kind of like my picture I drew. So let's look at Farmer Brown. Farmer Brown is boards tall. So we need to find out how many boards tall Farmer Brown is. Let's see. Let's start from his toes and count all the way to the top of his hat. How many red boards tall is he? 1, 2, 3. Farmer Brown is 3 boards tall. So you're going to write 3. Okay? Now let's look at Cheddar. So where does Cheddar start from? He does not start from the ground, so we can't go all the way up. But where does he start instead? Where are his feet? They're right here. So we're going to start counting right here. So how many boards tall is Cheddar? 1, just 1. So now we need to find out how many boards taller Farmer Brown is than Cheddar. So we are going to say 3 minus 1 is, what happens if we just put an X by one of the boards for Farmer Brown? How many boards does he have left? 2. So Farmer Brown is 2 boards taller than Cheddar. Let's turn the page. Now we see some red and yellow rectangles. It says compare the sets of rectangles. Complete the sentence. So based on this picture, which color is longer, the red or the yellow? The yellow. The yellow rectangles are longer than the red. So it says the bottom row is rectangles longer than the top row. So let's count how many more rectangles does the yellow bottom have? 1, 2, 3. Exactly. The bottom row is 3 rectangles long. Now if we look here, it says the left stack is rectangles taller than the right stack. So the left stack is taller, but how many blocks taller? So we're going to start from here, and we're going to count the leftovers. 1, 2. The left stack is 2 rectangles taller. The bottom says complete the sentences. It looks like we have pennies, and it says 5 because we're starting with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minus something equals something. So I want you to look at the picture and I want you to see, what does this X mean? It means how many they're taking away. So we're going to say 5 minus 1 equals, and I want you to put in the answer. What do you think? 4. Good job. 5 minus 1 equals 4. And so there are how many pennies left? 4 pennies. All right, kindergarten, you finished your math for today. I'm so proud of you. Great job, kindergarten. I'll see you soon. Bye.